Okay, super amazing students, welcome back. Hopefully you've been successful in the first part of your Google form, and we're going to continue on. This particular standard is a little bit deeper into your writing and interpreting numerical expressions. This time we're going to actually try to figure out what the words mean, and we're going to take the words and interpret those into numbers. So what it basically says is you're going to write simple expressions that record calculations with numbers and interpret numerical expressions without evaluating them. So, for example, you're going to express add 8 and 7 and then multiply by 2 as 2 times 8 plus 7. And I want to point out that the word then is very important in this, because that means that whatever happens after then has to happen second in your expression. If you notice the way they wrote it, they actually wrote the multiply by 2 first. But it happened second because of these parentheses right here. Those parentheses always, if we go back to our PEMDAS, remember, parentheses happens first. Our parentheses would happen first, so it really doesn't matter. We could write our times 2 at the beginning, or we could write our times 2 at the end. As long as we have our parentheses on the 8 plus 7, we'll ensure that that happens first. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to write my PEMDAS like I always write it, with a parentheses around the P, the exponent box for the exponents, the arrow over the multiplication and division because they are together and they happen in order from left to right, and addition and subtraction, and they also happen in order from left to right. So let's take a look at one. This says which expression represents divide 18 by 2, then add 12. Because of this word then, this means that adding 12 is going to happen after we divide 18 by 2. The most important part here is determining which one of these numbers is the dividend, because that's going to happen first. Are we making groups of 2 or are we making groups of 18? This says that we're dividing 18. So we're taking the number 18 and we're going to divide it into groups of 2. So that looks like 18, and now we're going to divide it into groups of 2. Once we do that, we're going to add 12. I always write out my expression first, and I do that because I want to make sure that I'm using my thinking and not confusing my thinking with what the test writers did. Because oftentimes the test writers are going to throw in things that are going to make me confuse myself. And I don't want to allow them to do that. Now I'm going to look at the order of operations, and I'm going to make sure that I had everything happen in the order that it was supposed to happen in. Do I need parentheses around 18 divided by 2 to make sure that it happens first? Let's check. If I look at multiplication and division, it occurs before addition and subtraction. I only have 2 operations in this. I have division and I have addition. Division automatically occurs first, so I'm okay here. The next thing I'm going to do is I will check my answer choices to see if I have one that looks like something I wrote down. And as I scan and I look, I see that D looks very much like what I wrote down, so I'm going to put a question mark there. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to underline what happens first in each one of these expressions. So as I scan A, I know that division occurs before addition here, But this says 2 divided by 18, and I already decided when I was talking to myself earlier that 18 is the dividend. So this to me was written backwards, so this could not be an answer choice. When I look at B, I know based on PEMDAS that parentheses happens first. And nowhere did it tell me in my words that I was going to be adding 12 plus 8, or there was nothing that said there was going to be a sum of 12 and 18. The same problem happens in C. Again, there was a sum of 18 and 12. And that would have occurred first, based on PEMDAS. Luckily for me, I had already written down the exact expression. I could have also done 12 plus 18 divided by 2, and that would have also been correct, because based on PEMDAS, 18 divided by 2 would still occur first. So D would be the correct answer. Make sure that you always go back to your PEMDAS and make sure that you're thinking through what the words actually say. Check and double check and make sure you look through all the answer choices as you go through your form. Good luck.